we can now go about creating what I would call a nice little sound palette. So we could say, okay, we have our bass drum sound right here. So if I scroll back up here to the drums, and now let's, for instance, go to snare. Let me just take bipolar snare. I'm going to drop that on the second pad. Oh, that's a strange sounding snare. See, now we have two different sounds. Now I find that snare sound is too loud and sort of penetrating. So one thing I will show you right here is if I go into the simpler itself, I'm just going to go to volume in the right hand corner. I'm just going to lower that. Okay. So now we have those two sounds. Now, I think just for our purposes right now, instead of me just loading in a whole bunch of sounds, I'm going to go back over here to drums, and I'm just going to take a preset that is supplied by Ableton. Let's just take Acoustified. And now I'm going to have to drag that onto the MIDI track right here. And what you'll find is now we have 16 preset sounds that are all loaded into our drum rack. And this is a great way to get started, especially if you're not heavily into sound design and you just want some sounds to start with. This is a great way to get started. So now that we've loaded in this preset, I like to imagine this 4x4 matrix that's blue right here as a sort of sound palette. Now, if you're a painter, you know the way they have that piece of like cardboard or wood or whatever it is that they put all of their colors on. They sort of decide on the colors beforehand and start mixing them up, and then they start painting on the canvas. You know, so that would be your color palette. This is how I imagine this to be, like a sound palette. So you really want to decide on your sounds before you start composing, you know, to find a sort of selection of sounds that work well together and give you like what I would call a positive limitation. So you're not sort of too distracted by too many possibilities. And like I said, the presets are a good way to start if you don't have your own presets already built.